Here we have our German loadouts. Again, we'll start with a Stallone tier, and it's definitely going to be the German Assault Raider loadout. This is an excellent loadout, arguably one of the best in the game, if not the best loadout. I love the AT loadout, but as far as stopping power, this is a fantastic loadout. And as always, we'll go with the German medic sanitator. Of course, you're just stuck with the handgun. You got your pack of band-aids, which is basically useless. And yeah, pretty simple. Again, we'll just go in order here. Anti-tank standard. I love the car. I mean, it's got the same stopping power as the Garand, but the way it fires, how it shoots, I have to put this as a Stallone loadout because I have used this more than any other loadout in the game. It has everything you need to be successful in whatever you want. As long as you can shoot good, I've always said this, as long as you can shoot good, the car is great up close. Now, the hit detection in the game might screw you a little, but other than that, this loadout is fantastic. Gun crew. Again, I mean, I love the car, so might bump it up just a tiny bit here. I don't think it's an Arnold level loadout. It's basically I think we might put it down here with the Sean Connery loadout because basically having the car by itself, and if you're not building the gun and just hanging out by that gun, is basically a useless loadout. You're really limiting yourself. The ambusher. This is definitely going to make it up to an Arnold loadout. The having the satchel and the anti-tank mine and the MP40, you can hit people in the head at 200, no problem with this gun. It's not quite like the grease gun where it just finds heads at random, but this is a solid gun in almost any situation. U.S. Assault Standard. The Gewehr, I am not great with this gun at all, but I think for a standard tier loadout, it's solid. You got your grenades, you got your smokes, and you got the Gewehr, which is good. 250 all the way to 5 meters close up combat. You're going to put people down with that gun. It's much better than the carbine. Next up, we got the Assault Veteran class. This is a good loadout. It's got the MP40, a couple grenades, I believe it's 2 grenades and 1 smoke. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's a decent loadout. It doesn't have the stopping power of the Gewehr, of course, but it's a solid loadout. I think you can definitely do some damage with it, but because it's not as powerful as the Gewehr is, we're gonna bump it down here for just that little bit of reason. It's gonna take more bullets. It's more of a close-up action loadout than the all-around loadout of the standard assault. The Grenadier, that is definitely a Stallone level loadout. Any corner you come around, you're going to be prepared. It's going to be a solid loadout no matter where you are, no matter what map you're on. You're going to wreck people at all distances and be prepared around every corner. The automatic rifleman standard loadout. Well, the STG is basically unstoppable. That gun is solid. It's a 2-hit kill, I believe, past 75. It doesn't have a ton of recoil, so it's really easy to get 2 shots off real quick and take an enemy down. And up close, I mean, good luck beating that gun. The automatic rifleman veteran class with the MP40 and 1 smoke. That's going to be a tough one. I mean, on the US side, that automatic rifleman loadout with the Thompson and smokes is a lot of fun to play. You just got to be like in cemetery or clearing out a church or whatever it may be. It's very situational, but it does work well. And for that reason, we're going to put it down here with Sean Connery. Next up, we got the paratrooper loadout. I mean, the FG42 is amazing, and you get some grenades. It might be one grenade, I can't remember, but this is a very solid gun. Does it make it up to an Arnold level loadout? I don't think so, but you can definitely play like John Wick and take some people out. You don't get a lot of ammo. I think the devs should really kind of up the ammo count for a lot of these loadouts. But this gun, you just blow through them so quick, expect to be redeploying all the time. Next up, we have the German Commander standard loadout. Not a bad loadout. You're stuck with the MP40 and a handgun, and you're going to get the job done. Is this this is going to have to make it down to a Sean Connery level loadout. It's not the best. It's not the worst. You do get some smokes. You don't have any grenades, so it's not awful. German Commander veteran. Oh yeah, this is a John Wick loadout for sure. You get the Gewehr. You're going to be able to take down whoever you come up against. You got smoke in case you got to retreat, and the handgun. I mean, you really can't go wrong. Now the German Engineer standard loadout. So you can build your nodes. I'm not really counting the nodes in there, but you do have the building capability. You do have an AP mine. You do have an AT mine, and you get the car, which is, a showstopper in my opinion. This is going to be. Oh, you got the ability to really do some damage with this one. Let's bring this one up to an Arnold level loadout here. No, it's not going to be able to be that. It's going to have to be a John Wick level loadout. You're going to be able to do some damage to whatever you come up against. AP mines are so handy, and you get, I believe it's 10 combat effectiveness points every time you set one down. If you ever see a low level engineer in your server and he has 780 points, and you can almost assure you he's just dropping mines every time he deploys and doesn't really have, 90 kills. But it's a fun loadout to use. The German Engineer Pioneer. This is definitely an Arnold loadout. It's got a satchel. You really can't beat that. It's got the AP mine. It's got the smokes. You're good to go. You can blow up nodes. You can blow up houses, whatever you want to do. You're going to be good all the way around with this loadout. I would rather have the standard tier auto rifleman loadout just because of the STG, but the AP mines do come in handy, and that satchel is just unbeatable. It's a magnet for stupidity, though. So when you lay one down, you could tell everybody around you, and they're still going to run at it. So sometimes I just tell people that satchel's down, go ahead and run at it. And they do. Then we have the standard loadout for the German MG. This is the MG34. This is a good gun. I'm always a bit disappointed when I get picked with it because the MG42 is that much better. It's not an awful loadout by any means. I find it a little harder to aim, but technically it's got to be an Arnold level loadout. It is pretty much unstoppable. It's a lot easier to hip fire. It would be nice if the devs would open up each window in the game so that the window trim doesn't stop bullets, because for one, that's not realistic, and another, I mean, a gun is. We don't need that in the game. We don't need window trim in the game. We just need to be able to mount the gun in the window and not have to mount it 2 or 3 times because that window trim is in the way. Take that out of the game. As well as some of the houses, they've blocked off being able to mount the MG in like the prime windows. And I think you should just open up every window. Let anybody shoot wherever they can mount that thing out a window and go from there. There's no reason we need the trim. There's no reason we need certain windows to be blocked off on, especially when the devs at Black Matter do not play the game. So why they would go ahead and block out a window and also state that they strategically did that, I just think is stupid. If you want to talk about strategy, how about the MG gets to pick the window he wants to shoot out of and everybody works around that? That seems like a better strategy, but what do I know? Then we got the big boy, the MG42. This is absolutely a Stallone level loadout. It's unstoppable. If you haven't used this in game, then I suggest you get up on it and play it. It is an amazing loadout. I know it's kind of a grind to get to loadout level 3 and stuff when you're new, but just get there. You'll enjoy this gun so much. The sound of it is so amazing. It is feared on the battlefield now. Uh, I used to like the way it sounded way back in Update 9. I thought it sounded fine, but I do like the new sound of it. I wish it was sounded a little bit different when it was coming at you, but other than that, that's just nitpick at this point in time. The German Medic standard loadout. This, it's not awful. It's definitely better than the Sanitator, but up close, I think it's a little tough. I'm going to have to put it down here. It's definitely a D tier loadout. The carbine has, it's semi-automatic. You have a better chance of taking someone down because if you miss a shot up close while you're trying to help someone, then this loadout is going to be really tough to use. German officer standard. Well, MP40, handgun, grenades, smokes. Standard loadout. This is a John Wick level loadout. I think you can be successful with this no matter the situation, right? You're putting down OPs, you're doing other things. Your chances of running to an enemy at distance is not that great unless you're, putting an OP down in an open field or something. This loadout will get the job done, though. German officer, point man. Gewehr. Like I said before, I'm not great with the Gewehr at all. I think it feels very similar to the shotgun when I control it, and I'm not great at the shotgun either. But this is a very solid loadout. We're going to put this up on an Arnold level loadout. You got your smokes, you got your grenades, you got everything you might need, and you can play pretty aggressive with this loadout. So if you're trying to be SL and you're the kind of SL where you push in front of your guys a lot, then this is the loadout you're going to want to pick for sure. Next one is Officer NCO. Again, I like the car, but I think if you're trying to lead a squad and you're trying to push real good, then I think the car is going to be the limiting factor in this loadout, where I think if you play more or less behind your guys, let them push in with the SMGs, and then you just use this when you need to, I think you'll be good. I would bump this up if it had a handgun also, but for now, it's going to remain as a John Wick loadout. German Rifleman Standard. This is a good loadout. You got your ammo. You got the car. It's got a ton of ammo, but and the ammo crate. Most people probably don't like using this loadout, but I'm going to place it as a Sean Connery level loadout here because it does get the job done when you need it to. And if you got an MG on your team, most likely you do. If you're German, then you can always refill him and go to town that way. German Rifleman, Stormtrooper. Come on, we all know that says Stormtrooper. But this, I love this loadout. If I'm not playing AT, then I'm usually playing Rifleman with this exact loadout. This is a Stallone tier loadout. You get 4 grenades, 2 smokes, you got the car, and you got the handgun. The handgun comes in really handy, especially if you're real close quarters inside a house. You got the one shot, but the handgun allows you to miss a couple and still take someone down. This is a Stallone tier loadout for sure. The Panzer Grenadier. You got the Gewehr. You got the grenades. You got the refill on the grenades. That seems a little OP to be able to always refill your grenades, but that's pretty fun. Like, you can be aggressive with this gun and always have grenades. You just got to wait the gray area till it fills back up and drop them again. But this isn't a bad loadout, though. You don't have any explosives. You can help out your team. I'm going to have to call this a Connery level loadout. It's not like the Grenadier for assault. It's, but you're going to be able to refill. I wish you had a satchel with this one. That would be maybe a little too OP and a lot of fun to be able to refill your own satchel. But I think it'd still be a lot of fun. But it's definitely a Connery level loadout. Very basic. You're not going to do much more. You're basically stuck. I believe you might even get just a single grenade. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you're going to be able to hang out with your squad and push and defend. Next up, the sniper standard. Now, some people really like the car with the scope. Long range, I think it's decent, but I just don't like that scope as much as I like the American scope. I would love to. I guess if the game had sliders in the control settings for you to pick different sensitivities for different scope levels, it would help me a lot. It's kind of annoying to change over. I mean, it's not a big deal, but for me, I can't be as quick. I really got to like sit far distance away, aim down sight, maybe 200 plus meters away, and try to fire upon a collection of enemies to be successful with this loadout. I'm going to have to rate it a John Wick level loadout. It's a good loadout. The when you add a sniper, when you add a scope to the guns in this game, it makes the bullets more powerful. So I can't really give it an Arnold level loadout, but it's definitely a John Wick level loadout. Then we got the veteran, the FG42. This is the way the gun should be. Semi-automatic with a scope. This gun is so fun to use. You can play super, super aggressive. It's got like the same zoomed in scope as the US sniper does, a 4X, I believe, where the German sniper on the car is an 8X. It feels like it that way anyways. But it's a very fun gun to use. It almost makes you wish it had the ability to toggle, automatic fire or semi-automatic fire, especially on the automatic rifle loadout. But this is definitely going up into an A tier loadout. Or S tier, Stallone tier. This is a solid loadout. You can do whatever you want. You can hang out at artillery, take out them as they spawn in really quickly. It's a great loadout all the way around. The spotter standard. This is a terrible loadout. This is a Steven Seagal level loadout here. You get the MP40, you got some grenades, you got an AP mine, you got ammo. It's okay. Right? It's not awful. I guess we could move it up to a Connery level loadout because it's got gadgets, but it's just not nearly as awesome as this loadout. The spotter scout. You got the car, you got smoke, you got the flare gun. I mean, you can play pretty aggressive with this loadout. For that, I'm going to give this a John Wick level loadout just because you got that flare. And I don't know if you guys know this, but you can actually shoot enemies with the flare. So that's also fun too. But you're going to have to keep your distance with that car if you're not good at playing aggressive with it. But it's a decent loadout nonetheless. Support standard. Now this is about as bare naked as you get. Maybe this one deserves a Seagal loadout. I like the car personally. I think it's a great gun, but because once you drop your supplies, you're left with a grenade and a car. Like it's almost like playing the MG with the bar. You're kind of just very limited to what you can do then. Once you drop your supplies, you'll probably be holding back, or you'll just redeploy into a different loadout, wait for the cooldown to reappear, and then join in and drop your supplies again. That's, in my opinion, that's the best way to play support still if you've already leveled it up to level 10. German support ammo carrier. Again, this one is a great loadout. We're going to give it a Sean Connery level loadout because you can refill. You got the MP40. It's a good solid gun. It's best to just drop all your stuff at one spot and let whoever comes across it deal with it. Just maybe drop your supplies so you can build a Gary behind the point. Big thing, behind the point. And then drop your ammo and grenade ammo as you get into the point. And last up, we got the German flamethrower. Now, I think the flamethrower is nearly useless. It's probably technically if you're on Carrington and Arnold level loadout. But for this one, we're just going to give it a Sean Connery loadout. And there it is. We'll move on to the Russians next. I mean, as you can see, in my opinion, I think the Germans have the best weapons in the game for sure. Uh, and it kind of shows that here. I mean, look at how many Stallone tier loadouts there are. That's phenomenal. Let's move on to the Russians.